Hey guys, this week in CP 811 we were asked to play with our maker kits that we had ordered last week, as well as find things that around the house or at a thrift store that we would be able to repurpose in order to make something that we can utilize in the classroom. So while I was watching videos and looking up stuff about my maker kit, which I ordered from Little Bits, it is a system that has a bunch of circuits and things that you can attach together, so I really didn't know what to do with that at first. So I started looking at videos on YouTube and looking up different forums to see what other things other people had made. The one that I found most interesting was a girl that made a fortune teller box, which I thought was a little interesting at first because I didn't really know how that would be applicable to what I needed. But that also gave me some inspiration to make something that I'm calling the Rueda de Verbos, which is actually the wheel of verbs. So how this works is I had to have a battery source. So to my battery source, I actually have this other clip that goes together, and it's actually part of the power. So we are able to attach the top part to the V8 battery. And then the piece that's attached actually has an on-off switch, which is designated with a red light when it's on, and then it's going to have an off when it's off. So what I had to do to that is I had to figure out what can I attach to this in order to utilize something to make my maker work. So the second thing that I had is a pressure sensor. So the pressure sensor I'm going to be able to attach magnetically right onto my second piece, and with that I'm going to be able to use this as a pressure sensor, so anytime it gets pressed something will happen on my maker, which I will show you in just a second. The last thing that goes on there inside my maker box is going to be a little fan. So this fan actually spins round in circles when activated, and that is actually what is going to turn this little piece right here. So my black arrow that actually makes the wheel work, instead of somebody, doing like this and flicking it round in circles, we're actually going to be able to utilize that as a pressure sensor. So what happens when I turn the box around, I am actually able to connect all of these pieces together. And again, they're magnetic, so they do attach. And the key is to get them to stick together. And what's going to happen is this little piece where we actually have to touch, I'm going to stick that through the box so that it shows on the outside. So while I do that real quick, we'll get that ready so that it's operational for us. And then we're going to be ready to go. And I'm going to tape this down just so that it stays on the inside of the box while we flip it over, so that nothing moves out of space. And I'm actually going to flip the on switch as well. So I'll be all ready to go. So it'll look something like this. So it's all going to be attached in the back, so the only thing we're going to need is what's in the front. So as I turn this around, what ends up happening is it does have a little bit of movement, unfortunately, when you're not using it, but what's going to happen is as you press onto the pressure sensor, the arrow in the middle is going to move around in circles. So my goal with this would be that I would be able to have students utilize this inside the classroom, possibly for something like bell work, where I call in a different student at each hour or every day, and they're going to be able to utilize the maker system in order to spin the wheel each day. And this would be something that we would be able to have them do so that they could conjugate the verbs. So we're actually practicing stem changing boot verbs right now. So for example, if I called Joe up to come and spin the wheel for us today, he can simply press on the pressure sensor and decide how long he wants that to go before it stops. And then if it stops on, for in our case, the verb poder, the kids will conjugate the verb poder on their bell work for the week. And again, we can do this as many times as necessary. The longer you hold it, the faster it spins. If you don't want it to spin as much, you can simply just give it a quick little tap. And again, it will stop in the middle of each one of those. So this is how I repurposed my tools for the week. The only things I actually had to use for this were my maker kit. I ended up finding a paper box top, which I decorated obviously with the stuff on the front. In order to make the circle portion with all my pie chart, was a simple piece of cardstock to which I divided with a ruler, and I was able to simply put in the verbs that I wanted. And then the part with the ticker, well, the ticker was even easier because that was another piece of cardstock that I simply just cut out and colored with black Sharpie. And then in the middle, it's kind of hard to see, but there's going to be a push pin, and that's actually what I attached that to the back fan that's on the other side. And so it was a fairly simple but creative simple task that I did. And the great part about this is you can change this wheel. So I can change this wheel as many times as I want. I can put new verbs on there if I'm doing something different in Spanish, or if I'm teaching a different level of Spanish. If I wanted to cater this to my history classroom, I could do the same. And the great part about this that I think the students will really like is that it's similar to Trivia Crack, which is going to be an app that is currently on phones that a lot of my students like to play in. So I think they're really going to get a hit out of this week, as I am going to try this for my bell work to see how it works. And if it works, then we might even be able to see what other kind of options I can find with that. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.